A gal. Who says gal? Let's go back
If I'm
here.
going to be honest, I do.
Oh, good. Okay,
I
okay,
still
okay.
say that.
If these walls could talk, they'd order a martini, where experiences are shaken, not staged. Welcome to Martinis in a Coat Closet, brought to you by Stacy Ringer and
Aiden Sawicki.
if you've ever wondered what really happens behind the scenes of events or why planners end up in a coat closet at times with a martini, you're in the right place. This episode's martini is called the Martini Experience, and it's dedicated to the Penrose at the Broadmoor Hotel and their fabulous table-side cocktail trolley.
So you've been to a lot of places, Stacy. Tell me, where have you been?
Well, just in the month of January, I think I've traveled over 15,000 miles on Alaska Airlines, which is a lot for 1 month. The team and I were able to go to Colorado Springs. Then we ended up, I took a trip out to Clearwater Beach, which is basically a 5.5 hour flight. And then I was able to bring out Lissa with me on that trip. And then coming back last week, I was in Austin. And then this week, I'm headed to Huntington Beach.
Okay, so let's talk about Colorado Springs. I think that was the first place that you went. Tell me about how you felt there. What hotel did you go to? Let's start there.
So one of my favorite places on the planet is the Broadmoor, and that's in Colorado Springs. I'll tell you something, as an event planner, you seek out hotels that become a partner, know how to have a relationship, to understand and communicate. And this is by far my favorite. I think we've been going there since 2012, and now we're at 2026. So that kind of tells you something. So we headed out there, Linda, Courtney, and I, and we stayed in our favorite location at the hotel, which is called a cottage.
I love those.
Don't you just like the name?
Oh yeah.
Right, exactly. So you show up to this really amazing, hotel, and it's more of a resort feel, but the history would blow your mind. I think I was channeling Spencer Penrose, which we'll get into in another episode. Maybe this is a really deep, dark, late night 5 martini conversation. Just the layout of this place, the hotel rooms, the meeting space, and then, the staff is by far, again, as I mentioned earlier, my favorite. And if there are any meeting planners out there and you are looking for a new and fun, different location, I highly suggest that you get a hold of Shelby at the Broadmoor and take a look at what they have there.
So I heard you talking about how wonderful the staff at Broadmoor were. Tell me about them.
The team at the Broadmoor is more like a family. And I think I've mentioned this many times that we do not at Ideas Northwest say the word no. Never no. It's more of, okay, let me figure that out. And then I would come back with a solution. May not be exactly what somebody had asked for, but it is something very similar. And that's how they are too, right? So we arrive at that hotel, and I'm sure they treat everybody the same way. But we arrive at the hotel and the entire staff, including the hotel manager, is standing out there with open arms, right? And that's just greeting us at the cottage. But then, as we move throughout the entire facility and the hotel, it feels like they're right there saying, hey, what can I do? What do you need?
Like they're always there for
They're
you.
always there. And the nice thing about that is, again, we seem to have these great expectations of that relationship and people understanding what you're talking about and wanting the best for our clients, the same as we do. And they really know how to make that happen, right? And you don't always get that.
Really thankful that that happens, those people that just really click with you.
Yeah, they click. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. They do. They click, and then they understand what needs to get done, and they make it happen. And again, if I have a choice of a hotel and a client's looking for a place, the Broadmoor is one of the first places I look, because we also can have a group of 20 executives that need smaller meeting space but need that level of experience as a 5-star hotel. And then we also have groups that are 400 that need a 5-day program. if you're getting that kind of service and you're having that relationship and that open communication, as easy as returning a phone call, right? I think that's also become something that some hotels or some salespeople, they just don't want to return that phone call,
I can see that.
right? What is up with that? Let's talk about that for a minute. What happened to if I make a phone call or send an email, and it used to be that somebody would get back to us that same day. Now it's like 2 to 3 days later. Are people just busy, Aiden?
I sometimes feel like people are almost embarrassed to return the phone call. With everyone's attention spans really decreasing, I think this tends to be more for the newer generations, kids and teenagers not wanting to return phone calls because they feel embarrassed to talk over the phone.
Well, I feel like, if you're in the hotel industry, you're in the hospitality industry, you obviously are an outgoing person. You obviously really want to,
Okay, yeah.
be forward facing, front facing. And if you've gone to school, you've graduated, whether it's high school, college, if you're in a hospitality program, if you're not in a hospitality program, you at least know that if you're going out into the real world and taking a job on, you're going to have to talk to people. So regardless if you're 18 to 30, people out there listening, return emails, texts, and phone calls. That way it establishes a relationship and trust.
So why do you think they don't return texts, emails, phone calls maybe as fast as before?
I don't know if they're just too busy, or again, if it's the size sometimes of our groups. If we have 100 people for 4 nights, is that a big deal? Are they looking more for the 300 to 400 for 5 nights? I just don't know. But what I do know is, again, for anybody that is in this world, in the hospitality world, just returning, the communication is key, at least for us, right? Because we're on a time crunch too. So anyway, that's a little bit about the Broadmoor. If anybody's looking for a place to travel, even for leisure, they have a pool, they have a bowling alley, they have the Penrose. Again, it's why we named the Martini of the Week. I highly suggest, as an event planner, that that's one of the first places that you call. And again, you just want to make a phone call to Shelby. And then when you're there, you have to say hi to Ann and Double D for me.
So let's talk about why you were at Colorado
Oh,
Springs.
yeah. I wasn't just
Your
there to go
target
to the
goals,
cottage.
yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay. We were there to do a site visit. We know the hotel pretty well, but we still needed to look at the new space. And with this annual group that we take there, numbers have changed a little bit. So we needed to go out there and figure out, okay, what works, what rooms work, where do we need to be, and kind of get that organized as far as putting together our agenda and, making sure that we had the correct rooms with the correct seating and so forth. And while we were there, we met with DesignWorks, Maria and her team. We've been using them for years when we go out there. We don't just set our meeting rooms with the traditional hotel furniture, classroom, theater rounds. We bring in furniture. We bring in design and decor. And one thing we always want to do is we don't just set a registration as a normal registration. It's an experience, right? And that sets the tone for the entire event. So we needed to go out there and get everything established of what we need. And again, looking at how do we keep it new and fresh. And so that relationship again with Maria and DesignWorks. And I want to, just make sure that the viewers know that today we had a little spider in the corner.
Oh my gosh, that spider. Okay.
I said little, and Aiden came in and he looked in the studio and he looked down and he goes, okay, we have a little bit of a problem. But anyway, okay, let's move along. So that's why I was there.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like Colorado Springs was a pretty easy trip for you. Not only did you go with familiar faces, but you clicked easily with people, made it quick and easy. So you went home for a hot second, then you got back up. Where did you go?
I know, I think I was in the office for a total of like 6 hours in between the next trip. The next trip, I got to go to Clearwater. So here's the best part about that trip. I almost clapped because I don't know if anybody could hear that because I got so giddy. Clearwater was for a client that is really again, all of our clients are very incredibly important to us. This client had us fly out to Clearwater for their board meeting. right?
Okay.
But the hotel, I want to talk about that for a minute because I found this hotel while I was at IMEX, and IMEX is a very huge industry related conference convention that happens in October in Vegas. This particular hotel, it's called the Opal. And I don't know if anybody who's listening has been to the Opal. Have you heard of the Opal?
I think I've heard of it briefly. I don't know
Okay.
much about it.
Okay. Well, it's a independently owned. They have several locations in different countries, but they happen to have a few in Clearwater. I'm going to tell you about Clearwater. The sand in Clearwater is mind blowing. Like, it's hard to describe. So again, we're here in the Northwest, right? So I jump on a plane, and best part is Alaska Airlines has one flight in and one flight out. So I fly out. It takes about 6 hours to get there. I land to Tampa. The best airport, in my opinion, because it's small, easy access, perfect. We partnered with another DMC out there. So transportation, is greeted right at baggage, had my name on there.
Okay.
We get in the, SUV and we head out to Clearwater. I think it probably took like 20 minutes, maybe 25 at most. And the Opal Hotel, you walk in and it is beautiful, gorgeous, new.
Really?
Yeah, super new.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that particular event, I was able to get there a day ahead of time. But here, I got to talk about this. Two things. Again, I would have never known about it if I went to IMEX and met Wendy. So if there are any event planners out there and you're looking for a unique place to go, I would definitely call Wendy at the Opal. And then if you want to find out her information, if you just don't want to call and say, hey, can I talk to Wendy? You can actually go to our social and then contact me, and I'll get you her digits. Is that what they say? Digits now? But
Formal way of saying it.
for a little bit. But I went out there so I could at least get everything set before everybody got there. But here's the best part about that hotel. Every room has a view. So here's something that people always say to me. Hey, I want a view. I need a balcony. And oftentimes at hotels, you're going to say you're overlooking a parking lot possibly. I don't know. Run a house. Run a house is any hotel room in the hotel. So we are very particular. I don't want to rent a house. I would prefer to have an ocean view, a lake view.
Yeah,
You're
for
right
sure.
there. Are you envisioning that with me?
Oh, yeah.
But this hotel, Aiden, every room has a view, a balcony, okay, and a kitchenette, which if you say kitchenette, kind of takes people back to the Motel 6 or something, back in the day that had kitchenettes. No. These are all brand new. So you could, if you go to the restaurant and you're at a place for, 3 to 5 days and you eat and you're like, this is the best thing I ever had. You don't typically take it home if you're staying in a hotel because how do you heat it up? How do you refrigerate it? Try and say that a lot. You can do that at the Opal Hotel. Now, I'm not even going to stop there.
Okay.
For most of our clients for this particular trip, they had hot tubs on the balcony.
Really?
You're overlooking the beautiful ocean, okay? And you're in a hot tub. And not that you have a ton of time when you're at an event, a conference or a meeting.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, when you get back at night, and if you can just jump in that little nugget and be in some water and look at that view, it's pretty spectacular. So
Sounds very peaceful.
super peaceful if you're there again for many days. But the Opal Hotel, it was nice. And for that one, it was busy. We had to organize all of the arrivals and departures with transportation, and it happened to be during a storm. So we had a lot of people coming in late, a lot of people not being able to get home. But the nice thing is everybody was coming from a cold temperature. And when they arrived on Saturday or Sunday, it was like 75.
Oh, crap.
So I think that, for that, at least it was something that was, it started that meeting off right. Because at these meetings, these people are getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and wellness is a big thing, right? So I would see when I was going down to make sure that breakfast was set and the meeting room, was set appropriately and meeting the AV guys. I'm seeing some of these people coming back from these, 5-mile runs And they're like, why not?
Wow.
It's super nice outside. I'm usually stuck in on a treadmill inside in the cold weather. So anyway, that's what I did in Clearwater. So it was full of like dinners at night. The Opal did a good job as far as their audio visual, their banquet team seemed to be spot on. For a brand new hotel, sometimes you don't find that. And then again, I got to hang out with one of my favorite clients, and she knows who she is if she's listening. Again, that relationship, right? That trust. You can ask me for anything, big or small. I'm going to make it happen because I have so much respect for this group. So anyway, that's what I was doing in Clearwater.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
You've been to a lot of places and you've been very busy.
I've been
Seems
very
like you've
busy.
really been enjoying yourself though, right?
Right? I do. Somebody asked me that recently, and I said I wouldn't think of doing anything else. And if
Yeah.
there are any listeners who are thinking about getting into this line of work, and whether it's event planning or hospitality, and they want to do like an internship or come in and talk to us, our door is open. Happy to do that, right?
Wide open.
They could sit right here.
They could. After those events, you've been at the office for a couple days now, and I remember you mentioning something that kind of triggered you, that something bad happened and that you needed a martini. Tell me about that.
Well, I want our listeners to know that I don't need a martini. I just really like them. But yes, there was something that happened, Aiden. This is when I need that coat closet, and you know me, I'm scouting them out immediately when I
Yeah.
arrive at these places. But I just had an attendee who had a perception that wasn't real,
Okay.
and it really caused a little anxiety for everybody around on our team, and including those a few attendees. And again, tensions kind of rose. I was able to diffuse it very quickly and fix the situation.
Okay.
But what I realized is you can't please everyone. And not everything that we do is going to deliver 100% expectations of everyone. But it's how you manage those expectations, how you fix something quickly, how you diffuse the situation, and then how you have follow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular situation, I was able to put my own anxiety and my own possible anger, or having it be, directed at me, to the side, and sit in her shoes. What is it that made her feel this way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's
And
a good way to understand both perspectives. I like
right?
that.
Yeah. So I was able to do that after a few minutes, and then the rest of the time it was fine. But it's funny because that was early in the morning, and that's where I was
Oh.
eyeballing the closet and thinking, what do
Oh.
I need in there? Maybe it's so early. Maybe I don't need a martini, but maybe I need that closet and like some Zen music and a
Yeah.
Bosu ball or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, again, in this line of work, you're striving to make 100% of the time people happy. And you know that you're going to, have a miss every once in a while, and that miss is fixable. But we live in a really proactive world in hospitality, or we should. We don't do well in reactive. I shouldn't say we don't do well. We don't want to be in the reactive, but oftentimes that's exactly what happens, right? Whether a microphone doesn't work, whether a dietary need isn't met, whether it's the room is too cold, or I had to walk too far, or, it was loud in my guest room last night. These are the things that will always come up, right? And then we just become the fix-its.
After all of that, the two trips, Colorado and Clearwater, and that moment of seeking out a cloak closet, you went back out to Tucson,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
So why'd you go? Who'd you go with? And how was it?
Okay, so I went to Tucson, and I'll be quite honest, Tucson was more of a girls' weekend.
Oh, okay.
Because I had to throw that in there. I mean, listen, we got to have some fun. But that was a trip with my closest friends, but they're also my mentors. Like, we've worked together a long time. These ladies are presidents of companies in the hospitality world, and then others work for Conference Direct. So we can share what's going on in our world and bounce things off of each other. And I'm not sure that everybody gets that opportunity. These happen to be my besties in a world that we all relate with each other.
Like you said, you kind of give the inside processes and what fits best, right?
Right. And get their opinion because I
Yeah.
believe and trust in them.
After being at all of those events, Clearwater, Colorado, and then having that time with your best friends, what would you say would be the one takeaway from all of those things?
Do I have to have one? I mean, can I have a couple?
Couple takeaways.
Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. I would say that from the hotels would be that having a line is not that bad. These are moments where you can create relationships and conversations happen with your attendees.
That's good insight because I'm not a big fan of lines either.
Right.
Noted.
Okay. Second thing, it is really who you surround yourself with and who you want to work with and who you want to be around. And that Tucson trip, being around, the ladies and being around people who are, let's face it, smarter than I am and probably, have, they have different experiences than I do. Being able to collaborate and just be yourself, and you don't have to find a closet to have a martini. You can actually have it out in the open. I like that as well. This is Stacy Ringer and
Aiden Sawicki.
And you've been listening to Martinis in a Coat Closet, recorded in the Ideas Northwest studios. Cheers to ideas and martinis.